share with me and get to know me.
Working within it so that you can trust
You gotta
them.
be able to produce things. And I'll tell you why that production is so important. But before we go there, how do you use those two pieces of equipment? And
Success is not necessarily financial, but success is when you feel fulfilled in what you're doing. And then
to other women, they need to know their value, their worth.
But I believe everything that you put your mind to and you achieve, it's success.
Give us all the stuff.
Okay, I'll answer all 16 of those questions right now, Renee. I started in the music business at Sony while I was still...
Hello, and welcome to the show. My name is Renee Hastings, and I'm your host of Renee Speaks. Y'all, I am so excited about today's guest, and you will be too. Let me tell you, our guest is a talented live video creator and host. She brings with her a wealth of experience as a seasoned video marketing and social media strategist. With a proven track record in the presentation design and development, she has earned her stripes in the digital marketing arena, becoming a sought-after expert. Her journey as a YouTube content creator has honed her skills in crafting captivating narratives and creating content that truly engages. Working with renowned names such as Snowflake, Cisco, HPE, and Night Ranger, her influence on the industry is undeniable. Our guest firmly believes that video transforms the way companies connect with their audience. It helps companies foster genuine relationships. Drawn from her extensive background in sales, business development, and international marketing roles, she brings a treasure trove of experience to every single endeavor. Our guest's prowess across social media, combined with her ability to host live video events and craft compelling presentations, showcases her versatility in the digital landscape. But beyond her professional prowess, our guest is also bilingual, proficient in both English and German, allowing her to connect with diverse audiences. Y'all, please put your hands together for Nicole Sanchez.
Oh, I'm blushing. Wonderful intro. Thank you so much, Renee.
Welcome to the show. I am so beyond thrilled to have you here today. It is truly an honor to be on the same screen with you. So thank you for joining us.
So glad to be here.
So why don't you go ahead and kick us off with how you got to this place? Tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your journey, and how we are here today.
Yeah, so I started out my career basically in sales, business development, moved my way into marketing, which is where I really wanted to be. But back when I got out of college, it was really tough to find anything in marketing that I really wanted to do. So I thought I'd get the background of sales and I'd be such a better marketer, which actually worked out quite well. And then over the years, marketing was ever evolving, and I ended up, in social media. And the funny part is that when social media came out, my kids were wanting to get on it. So my whole strategy was, I'm going to be better at them at social media than they are, so that I will always know what's going on. Made a pact with them that if they want to be on these platforms, I'm their friend until they're 18. And then I learned those so that I knew all about having the fake accounts that your parents didn't know about, and like all the things. And luckily they were great kids. I didn't have to worry about that. But then I started really enjoying it and seeing the power of social media. And then while I was doing all the social, I realized that video got such a better response than anything that you could put that was a still. So then I started incorporating video in. And at that point, I was consulting for Cisco, and I was running the learning at Cisco, all their social channels, and just brought more and more video to it, and it just made such a difference in the numbers, the engagement, everything. And then I started a YouTube channel right around then, and I discovered live streaming, and this is back when it was Periscope, and all the way back when it just started. And it wasn't even, Facebook Live wasn't even a thing yet. Right. And I found that with this live streaming, you could connect with people, because there were people getting on in live streaming that were normally very unreachable, but it might be the president of AT&T, it might be the head of Makeup Artist Magazine. There were all of these different people that you could connect to, and people were really engaging. So then I started live streaming for myself, and then I brought that to Cisco, and it was really exciting. It took me about 10 months to convince them, because they're a corporation and live stream was new, and you wonder what could happen. And I was able to do it at Cisco Live that year and got about 250,000 views, completely organic, no promotion. They had a good sized Facebook base, and that's what we ended up doing, because Twitter, it didn't take as well on Twitter with that audience, and it was amazing. And that's really what, sold me. We got 250,000 views, and it was just me, not kidding, with a selfie stick, with my phone, a little mic, and I had one of those little clip-on ring lights stuck onto, and that was how low tech it was.
Wow. And you were able to get 250,000 views from that. So you don't have to have a boatload of money to do a live stream. You just need a phone and maybe a light, definitely a mic, or just a little laugh.
For sure, because audio can be really actually more important than the video. Because how many times if you watched a video that maybe didn't look good, but you could hear them, but if you can't hear them, then you usually turn it off. But that's how how that worked. It was that little of an investment. And kept taking it from there, and it was really great that I had my own YouTube channel where I had to do everything, because then it really teaches you to kind of guerrilla market. So, when I started over at Snowflake, they had one channel, and now we have 3 plus one where we house non-English language, is the 4th technically, but that we really run. And, we've niched down into one of those. And I think we've produced about 300 videos in the last 6 months.
Wow, that is a lot of content. Oh my word.
I have a fantastic team. It takes a village, that is for sure.
Well, I can imagine. So can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because I know, well, I shouldn't say I know, you're the experts. So when you have to develop that much content, what is there a strategy behind that? Like, how does it work that you're able to do that? So, or you and your team are able to do that so efficiently and so well?
So there's, a lot of planning, a lot of spreadsheets. We have some tools that we use, to kind of, keep everything on track. But, really, so what happens is, one of our biggest, outputs of the year is when we have a Snowflake Summit, which is our biggest event of the year. And so we live stream on 2 sets, basically. Last year we technically did ping pong between sets, back and forth. One went live, the other went live. And then this year we were completely live in one, and then the minute it opened up in the other, we would push something that we just done live to tape, just because logistically we wanted to make sure that we didn't have anything crashing into each other. But just that was 70 videos. And it's so much planning, because that's all thumbnails, because we were try streaming. We were doing YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter on all of those. So it's thumbnails, titles, descriptions, call to actions, link, everything. You have to do that ahead of time. So it's just a lot of really good planning and thinking about, when you go live, that all has to be put into place. So it's just a huge effort. I've got an amazing writer. I have an amazing, production manager. And then, also the team that films it all to make sure we've got, top quality, audio and video, going on the sets. And then for all the other videos we do a lot of, batch filming. So one of our hosts for one of our programs, is from out of state. So, we'll have a setup day and then we'll film for 4 or 5 days straight with different partners flying in from all over the country for those, and then luckily we have a studio in house that we can use when we need to film. So and a lot of things are very planned, but then sometimes things fly in. So not YouTube related. Also for the virtual events we have and in-person events, my team often works on a lot of videos for those. We have 2 upcoming events right now. One's going to have about 60 pieces of content because there's 5 tracks. It's a webinar. And then we have another one that's more like a 2.5 hour. That's not so much, but so it's so much planning and having a team that you can rely on and, really anticipating, timing wise, what you need with the amount of editors you have, how much can you really pull off. And then of course there's always budget you have to think about, because of course we all have to watch the budget, and plan for that too.
Wow. So it truly is a production, like really doing an event, doing a summit, doing all of the recordings. And I love how you said plan. You have to plan this all out in advance before you even think about pressing the play button or the record button. There has to be some sort of structure, some sort of order. Yes. that you almost like a run of show. Like, do you know how you do that
exactly. For Yeah. And then you also have to have, your stakeholders, aware that, okay, if this is the time frame, especially if something's short, I need turnarounds on approvals on these videos, in this amount of time to make your deadline so that they understand. And then there's the whole creative side of it too, right? Because, you also want to have a specific look and feel for, each show or, whatever you're doing. So it's really cool because luckily Snowflake has a beautiful office. During COVID, it was fantastic because the whole thing, we could film anywhere we wanted because nobody was there. But now luckily our CEC, there's, our executive center, we have some really cool areas. So if that's not new, sometimes we can set up and film in there. We have our studio, of course, too. But I'm really fortunate that we have somebody on the team. They're actually out of IT, but he really acts often as the director, and he is so talented and does the most beautiful setups for us. Every time I think, this just can't get better. Sometimes we all powwow. There's another creative. 2 other creative designers on the team that are fantastic. Shout out to, Francis, Chris, Oliver. You guys are amazing. And we'll come together, and sometimes it'll happen in the hallway. Sometimes we'll have a meeting about it. And, Oliver will take that, and then he brings these things to fruition. And it's so much fun to see how far we've come. If you look at some of the shows from a year or 2 ago to what the sets look like now, it's unbelievable, the difference. And, the other area that I think has made a huge difference, we're talking about YouTube, is the thumbnails. When I started, they looked kind of PowerPoint slides, or maybe a person kind of, just, they just weren't very compelling. So that was another whole effort that I think made an enormous difference to the channels, because, we've really kind of honed those, and it took a while to have the design team understand the thumbnail is a little billboard for that video. They are all different. You can't just kind of cookie cutter them out. Now, obviously, we're a brand. We have certain colors. So yes, there's a similarity. But if someone is scrolling, right, because they're not usually coming to they do sometimes, but they're not usually coming to your channel and just, kind of looking at everything you've got. They're searching for something. So you want to really stand out and have them click yours. So, and that was another thing that, took a lot of development, and, I'm just thrilled with where they're going now. I think we can always be improving. But that was also kind of a big thing that I think everybody, if you're doing YouTube, really concentrate on the thumbnails. I mean, Mr. Beast, I've seen him speak a few times at Bid Summit, and that's one of the top things. They'll spend 60 hours on thumbnails and have all these variations. That's huge. To really and see what works and what doesn't work. And you can change them. I wouldn't say change them immediately, but if you're seeing something isn't working, just change the thumbnail and see if you get better response. And if you use TubeBuddy, if you don't know what that is, it's a tool that you can purchase plans for. When you do buy their like kind of enterprise plan, little hint, Black Friday, they usually do like a 40% off deal, which makes it much more reasonable. You can A/B test. So let's pretend this was a YouTube video, Renee. We put it out with, us doing whatever. And then we can also have a secondary thumbnail you put into TubeBuddy, and it will A/B test it for like a couple weeks or whatever you set up. And it'll tell you percentage-wise which one is doing better. And then you have some actual factual information about which thumbnail you want to use.
Yeah, that is genius. I love that. And I also love that you just broke this down so easy for us to understand. Your thumbnail is like a billboard. So concentrate on the thumbnails. I love that we put that up, but your thumbnail is the billboard for the video. And so you definitely want, like if you're driving down the highway and you see all these billboards, like you were just saying, you want to really zone in on the ones that capture your attention, the ones that really stand out, the ones that really make a difference. And as you're driving down the road, it's like, oh, hey, maybe I should get off at exit number 52 so I can go do this thing. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. And then, also for anyone who's kind of newer to YouTube, you don't want the exact same text on your thumbnail as your title. They kind of support each other because the thumbnail is kind of eye candy that grabs your attention. And then hopefully that has them read the title and click to watch the video. And, the less words, kind of the better. I'm working for a technology company. It's often a little more complex. We have to have words. But if you could tell a story without, even putting words, even better. Sometimes you see those videos where there's like, house and a key and someone looking shocked, like something about that they got this new house and what's happening. You kind of make a story up in your head and then, you can read the title and go in. But, if you can keep the words down to, 1 to 4 words on there and make them readable, because I think it's over 80% now are watching on mobile. So that means they're looking at your thumbnail about this big. So when you make a thumbnail, make it really tiny and make sure you can still tell what the video is about.
Yeah, I love that. 1 to 4 words for the thumbnail. That's key, like right there.
Because sometimes we break it, but that's always my recommendation and what we try for. Sometimes we go to 5 to 6, but we generally do not ever go over that. It's just too hard to read. And
yeah, agreed. I could not agree more. And I love the idea of not making your thumbnail, the words on your thumbnail, be the same as the title of the show. So it's like you want to entice them, tease them with what's on the thumbnail to get them interested in clicking on the link to the video to see what the actual title is about. So like you said, make a whole story out of it. It's not just a one thing. It plays off of each other.
Yeah. I just saw the comment about not using, having used the full TubeBuddy. Yeah, it's actually, they have a great YouTube channel, by the way, that explains a lot of features and things. So I know it's a little time, and I was like, oh, trying something new. It's like getting a new phone, right? Like you're excited about it. You're like, I gotta set it up. But if you just dive in, they make it so easy. Like seriously, the A/B testing, you go in there, you select the other, thumbnail that you want, and click how long you want this to run for, and then that's it. It's so easy. So don't be afraid of that technology, because it's really quick and easy.
Wow, that is so good. And thank you for addressing that. And also congrats to Briella, who's going to be doing her first live streaming tomorrow. She's like all plugged in, all ears. I'm ready to take all the notes.
Yeah. Well, if it's your first live stream, little tip I would give is make sure that if nobody shows up to interact with you, you have content, because when you're newer and there's not a lot of people, you might get most of your action on the replay, right? So whenever I did a ton of live stream interviews for Cisco with a lot of technology leaders, and we'd do a little rehearsal ahead of time, basically to kind of go through the talking points, make sure everyone was comfortable, if it's someone that you didn't know, because a lot of times these people were not used to being on camera. But the other thing I'd make sure is if we wanted to do a 15-minute video, that we had 15 minutes of things to talk about, because we did get audience questions. Because when we first started that program, I had no idea who was actually going to show up.
Right.
Luckily, we end up with lots of it, but you want to make sure that you have something to talk about. So when I would do it on my personal channel, which was, very small, I'd make sure that I knew what I want to talk about. Maybe stick a few bullet points onto your screen or on a little Post-it, and then also make sure, it's so tempting to look at yourself, but like, look, if I'm looking right now at Renee and me on the screen, but if I look at the camera, then you're connecting with your audience. So that's like a top tip that I would give. Just talk to that camera, because that's talking to your audience.
That's right. That's right. It's almost like being at the eye doctor when they shine that bright light in your eye. That's the way you have to do it.
Yeah, I actually for a while would stick a Post-it on there that said, "Look here," and stick it on the side of the camera. Oh yeah, because that would remind me, because it's so tempting, and obviously when you're looking at comments and stuff, you can look down sometimes, but
Right. Well, thank you so much for those tips for Briella and for the rest of the audience.
I bet you have some tips. Do you have some tips for her? I'm sure you do.
So live streaming for me is basically me talking to friends. I'm in that mindset of, and I think that is critical for me to not get nervous. Some people might get nervous, but I don't, because I just feel like whoever's on the other side of the white light, they like me and they're for me. And so they're going to, tune in when they can. They're going to watch the replay. They're going to leave some comments, hopefully nice ones. And whatever feedback that I get, is going to benefit me in some way or another, or my company or my clients, or it'll just help me grow as a person. I know that there can be some issues that some people may experience that aren't as positive and may make them skittish about going back live and things like that. But I think as long as you remember that you are offering a service, you're giving the benefit of your knowledge. What you have to offer is a gift to whoever has the privilege of watching or listening, and staying positive about it for yourself will help the live stream last. Because I heard that most people who do live streaming only do 6 shows and then they quit. And I'm not sure why they quit. There's a number of reasons, I'm sure. But if you go into it with a positive attitude, knowing that you're coming from a place of positivity to benefit somebody's life, then I think that helps to maintain the longevity of a video podcast career. Does that make sense?
That's great advice. That's really, really good advice. Yeah. And, I have a lot of friends who are in the beauty YouTube space. And, the comments there can get a little crazy. But I think what you have to remember is that if someone's in there making mean comments, they're not there for the right reason. They're probably an unhappy person. And you just can delete that or keep them off of your channels. Nothing wrong with that. You don't have to put up with people not being nice. That's what the trolls, just get them out of there. Obviously, if someone has constructive criticism or, a question, like obviously that's different. You don't need everyone to say, "Oh, you're so wonderful." But but really, this is your space, your platform, and I've watched them kind of as more when they started versus where they're now. They're like, "Yep, it's not the way to have that in your comments. It's a place of positivity. It's a place of learning, right?"
That's right. Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I really like to focus on is the coming from a place of positivity. And I love how you said, don't put up with nonsense. You don't have to put up with negativity. You don't have to put up with people being nasty. You don't. You can delete those comments. You can kick them off the channel, whatever, because this is for other people's learning who appreciate what you have to offer.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to say about that. So, Nicole, getting back to just a couple more questions about your journey, and we were talking about some key ingredients to creating engaging and impactful video content. And I think one of the first key things that you have to do is create those amazing thumbnails that make people want to click on you.
Mm-hmm.
Click on the link to the video to see what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So once they actually get to the video part, what would you say is a key ingredient to making sure that people watch the whole thing?
So I think there's a couple things. One is storytelling. I noticed that when I put a little story about myself into my videos, they did better. They just did. I could sit there and I had done a video about a product that I was known, something that it was amazing and I love. And I did one where I just kind of very factually talked about it. But then when I told the story in a different video of how, I went to this dermatologist and he shows me his passport. And I'm like, why are you showing his passport? This is so weird. And he's like, oh, this is 10 years ago. I'm like, oh, wow, you haven't changed at all. What are you doing? And then he told me about so when I told this whole story, that went to like 150,000 views, whereas the other one did not very well. So definitely if you put storytelling in. And I think also now one thing, and we're doing this at Snowflake now too, is where you used to have, an intro and then you'd introduce yourself and then you would finally get to what the topic was. We're now, and I'll be doing this on my channel too when I have time to put some more things on my channel, is going right into it. So, starting with the question that you're answering or the story that you're telling, like getting right into that and then working in your introduction and that stuff about yourself later, because, no offense to anyone, but in most cases, people have searched for a topic or they want information or entertainment or whatever they're looking for. And they want that. And they kind of don't care who you are. They might care where you come from, that you have authority to talk about this. Like if you're a plumber, going to show how to do this, fix this drain, and you're sitting there yakking about yourself and how long you've been, I don't know, where you came from, your parents, whatever. People are like, but later, if you should have fixed that drain and you work that stuff in, then they might find that interesting because at that point, they like you, they care about you, you've given them value. So I think kind of flipping the way we used to do it on its head a little bit is much more important. And then also if there's something visually that you can do in the first 5 seconds of your video that's for YouTube, because now you know how you have thumbnails, but then they're showing that first couple seconds, how they're showing that little preview of your video. So if you can have something, kind of interesting, that's helpful too. Haven't really implemented that so much. We do a lot of studio sets where it wouldn't look super different unless showing a demo or something. But that is another thing, if you can make things visually interesting. And then the other thing that I really love is movement and motion. If you can take the audience around with you a little bit more. There was this one YouTuber I watched, and she used to be zipping around her house or go out, or she just was vlogging basically a lot of it. And then she got she got, I guess, an opportunity to film something like with the Kardashians, or I don't know. And she sat down and she just sat there and did her thing. And I was like, wow, it was so much less interesting to watch her just sitting there than when she used to be bopping all over the place and having different, visuals around her. So if that's something to incorporate in, if that works for what you do, I think that's really a good one.
Yeah, I agree. Could not agree more. I was actually watching another YouTuber yesterday, as a matter of fact, and he did all of those things that you just said. So he had the really cool little snippet in the beginning that kind of told you what you were going to see later on in the video. And then as his intro video came on, he was walking through the studio, he's backstage showing you all the cameras, and then he sits down and does the interview that he's getting ready to do.
Yeah.
So and it kept me engaged the whole 58 minutes.
That's great retention. Look at that.
It was so good because I was waiting to see the part that was in the beginning.
Yeah, a little teaser.
It was like at minute 40. But it was a great way to get me engaged right from the start and make me want to just keep on watching the whole thing. And it was an amazing video, actually. It was very engaging, very positive, very it was very conversational between him and his guest, and it wasn't scripted or anything like that. And the guest, did a lot of really great talking, gave a lot of great advice. And it was just a really a good hour of my life spent in front of the computer.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, it's funny how the time just goes, it just passes so quickly. But when you're so engaged, and you've created content that keeps people in front of the computer, that is a win. That is absolutely a win.
Well, I think that's a key point to the content, because if it's engaging content that people want to listen to, they are going to watch and listen. I've actually watched videos where someone had a terrible setup. Their video probably wasn't even aesthetically really great, or even the quality of it wasn't awesome, but the information that they were giving was relevant to me. So I watched that whole thing, and I didn't need all the eye candy. I just wanted to, hear what they were talking about. So, that's the other thing I think it also really comes down to, no matter how awesome your set is and your everything, you have to be giving them value. You have to be giving them, the viewer, making it an experience for them that is valuable, or why are they going to spend their time watching you? They're just going to click off.
Exactly. And I love how you even prefaced it at the beginning of this show today, that people are scrolling for a reason. They're not here to find out more about you. They're here because they're dealing with something and they need some answers. They need some advice. They need some education. And so because they are there for a purpose, you've got to deliver. What is that? And so I love, getting straight to the point. Don't do all of this. Oh, hey, I'm, Renee, and I've been in business for 100 years. And like you said, nobody cares. They just want to know what you know and how you're going to benefit them. So
right. You work all that interesting stuff in, a little later, or the next video, right?
Right. or do like at the end, if you want to know more about, me, then stick around and I'll take you around my kitchen or something like or you know what I mean. But leave it to the end. I think that's great advice. Super awesome. So, Nicole, when you think about people in business, entrepreneurs specifically, how can they effectively leverage video to help develop meaningful connections with their audience?
So I think, there's a lot of ways that they can do that. I mean, it could be whether you're a restaurant or, you're a more traditional type of a business that's not retail. I think kind of establishing yourself as an expert in that area and giving people helpful tips, like, let's say you're a realtor. If you start telling people things that they might not know about what to expect when you're buying your first house, or, some tax rule that has changed or something, where you're not being like, hey, I'm such and such, and I've sold so much, and come, buy homes in this area for me. That's just a turnoff. But if you're just out there putting out information, maybe it's cooking tips when you're a restaurant. Maybe it's maybe you're an HR staffing company and you're talking, what you should look for when you're looking for, staffing for this type of job, or or how to work with a company that does HR staffing for you. I'm making all this up right now, of course. But if you put that kind of information out, and it could be just short little TikToks, or it could be, YouTube shorts, or, little short YouTube videos, whatever, you're then building yourself up as an expert in that area, which you are, because that's your area. And then people know you, then they start to like you, and they start to trust you, and then they'll generally start to buy from you, or, if your consultant, hire you, or go to your restaurant because, oh my gosh, those green beans fried up with the garlic and the sliced almonds like that, I got to try that, I mean, so whatever you're doing, if you do it, I think from a point of giving, then you end up, in the end, you will gain quite a bit. So I think really not doing any sort of a hard sales job. I mean, obviously you have your company logo, you mentioned your location, you work that stuff in, but you don't lead with it. You just don't lead with it, because that's a big turnoff.
Yes, absolutely. That's brilliant right there. Those are golden nuggets right there.
It's so tempting. It's so tempting to do it, but you just don't.
Right, exactly. And it works, because I'm just thinking about my own situation, like in my whole, YouTube and my experiences on TikTok, and which videos do I actually click on to learn more about. They're the ones that interest me, the ones that I want to know more about, and the ones where the people are giving, they're sharing their knowledge, their information for my benefit. And there was one lady who was, I don't even think she had a video about it all, but she had these recipes posted on some page, and you had to click on the link to get the full recipe. And
I've done that too, yes.
And then the recipe though cost like $1.
Okay. I got some recipes that were free, but that's smart lady.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I'll pay $1 to try this recipe. When I tell you, okay, so once you get in, you get that recipe for $1, or you can get the bundle of 10 recipes for $5. Once you get in, I was like, okay, fine, I'll try the bundle, because I looked at the ingredients and the recipes. I'm like, this could be kind of good. And so $5, I sent it, and it was my first TikTok purchase.
Oh.
And I'm telling you, now I'm the person who brings the baked beans to the picnic, because the baked bean recipe works so well and everyone loves
awesome.
it. But it totally works. But it was because she went out giving of herself, of her knowledge, and that just works. That's a recipe for success.
A recipe for success. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And if you notice now, some ads are doing this, right? Like Vuari, the very popular now athleisure wear brand, their ads are someone saying, hey, let me show you how I styled this. And she just starts putting on, the different ways that she wears that tank top or jacket or whatever. And it's like, I'm like, oh, because I might not have that exact thing, but I'm close similar to that. And then, they're never really ever pushing you to go shop in the store, but they're doing a great job of showing their very cute clothing off, and, it gets you interested in the brand, right? So after you see a few of those, you might buy something. So I think brands are embracing that too now, being less, they're an ad, but they're not less ad-ish, right?
Right, exactly. They're not so in your face. Like, buy this, I'm here to sell you some chips, or I'm here to sell you a car or whatever. No, look at how you look in this car. Look at all these features of this car. And, it's much more subtle and in terms of the brand and selling. But it's certainly, I think, maybe the way of the future in terms of building brand recognition and building an audience. So what advice would you give to aspiring video creators, no matter what their field, to help them amplify their online impact?
So I would say, do as many platforms as you can well. There's so many, and all to take more time than you ever think. Even just doing a nice Instagram post to promote a video that you've done. If you're making a video, it's another, edit you have to do. It's more writing you have to do. So like kind of pick what you think works best for your audience. Where are they? Are they on Facebook? Or are they on Instagram? Or are they on TikTok? And then also, depending on if you're selling something, who does the best job of having a store, right? Where can you get them to do that nice click like you did and buy the recipes, right? So it kind of depends on, I think, what you're putting out there. And then kind of guerrilla PR yourself, basically. When I put out one of my first YouTube videos I ever did, it was something, Costco at that point had some cool beauty box with some really great brands in it. So I kind of posted, on the Twitter or tagged them, and I said, this, whatever box with these fab items that was worth this, that was only cost me, that was so great. And I did a video on it, by the way, but not spammy, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't even put where the video was. I just put, it was so great, I did a video about it, and I no links, nothing, but it was a great thing. And so I was really enthusiastic. And then just telling, people, about that. Like, so going to places you might not have thought about, or if there's, a Reddit where people are talking about that, go into that. Again, do not ever go to other people's YouTube channels or Reddit and spam about, I put this video and put the link. People hate that. But if you engage in a conversation, even if it's not about anything you're doing, but in a community that cares about that, you'll probably start to have some people notice you and might wonder what you're about. And they might see, oh, they have a YouTube channel or whatever, wherever you are, and check you out. So I think sometimes, that's really helpful. And I think, doing some live streaming so people see the real you, not just the perfect polished set you, like all this stuff I have, behind me over here, all this equipment and all that, you never see that, right? But there it is in the corner behind me here on this live stream, right? Over there.
Well, and it looks good. It does look good. So, and further to that, now that makes me think, is it better to have a script when you're doing your video, or should you just kind of wing it and see what comes off the top of your head?
So I don't think you have to have like a script where you're like on a teleprompter necessarily, not like that, but it can be very, very good to script it out ahead of time so you know what you want to talk about it. And then maybe having, again, it could be just like on your monitor, something that you could glance at to make sure you stay on track, because otherwise you can find yourself getting off on a lot of tangents, and then the storytelling, or you might miss goes off the rails, or you miss a point or two, and after it's like, oh, and then you have to record that and edit it in. So yeah, I would highly recommend really thinking out, spending that hour or so doing your research, jotting things down in the order that makes sense. Because once you put it down, you're like, oh, I should probably, flip that around. That will make your editing take a lot, shorter period of time, because the editing can take so long on these things, depending on what you're doing. So I would definitely say script it out, but, you don't have to be a robot with a teleprompter. I mean, you could definitely do it on a teleprompter if you're good at that and can look like you're not on a teleprompter. Right. You don't want your eyes, doing that whole thing, or, you need to practice probably with the teleprompter if you have something you really want to stick to. But I would think probably putting bullet points. And then other thing too is, when you're new, you might not think of this, but let's say I want to redo what I just said. I don't just start right again like that. I would have to take a little pause, have a place to cut, and then I start again. And then you can also do things like, wave your arms so you have a visual that, oh, okay, wait, that's where, so I could skip the bad one. Oliver in our studio, he has this great thing. He made this little white, I don't know, piece of cardboard, I guess. And on one part, it has 3 green hearts. On one, he has like a yellow star, and then there's like a red unhappy face or something. And so what he'll do is he'll, between takes, if we do something a few times, then we'll know which was the best take. And then that saves the editor from having to watch and guess what was the best one. So I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, that is super smart. That is really smart. And I love, doing the arm waving, like, hold on, we got to cut right here. Yeah. I need to regroup. We need to take 2. Yeah. I think that's super smart. So the pause and the arm wave, we definitely got to, put that in, keep that in there, because we don't want to be wasting our time, editing unnecessarily, or watching the whole video again to try to figure out what to cut.
Right.
Yeah. So as we continue in this conversation, and we're thinking about business and video and content, what emerging trends do you anticipate will shape the way brands interact with their audience?
So I think that this, creator economy that you are seeing just taking off everywhere, where, they're having content creators do more and more of their ads, to give that, relevancy to their products. I think that's going to keep going even more than it has been. I think that's going to continue to grow, because, those are then real people who are using products and giving their views on them. So I think that that's not going to change very much. I think video is just going to continue to grow and grow. I'm just seeing, how much more we are doing than 2 years ago, at Snowflake. It's just growing because it's the way that you can interact with people, and it's just so much more interesting than just slides, or, and then it can be repurposed so much too, because, this could become a podcast, obviously, right?
Right.
You could take clips out of it. You could make a TikTok out of certain parts of it, you know, or short form content, let's call it that, because obviously we want YouTube Shorts too, the Instagram Reels. It can become so many more things, and you could take quotes out of it and, you know, also make that into maybe something a still, you know, that you might put somewhere. So I think video is just going to keep growing. And I think that people are so comfortable with live streaming now that they're going to keep consuming that content too. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I think that's going to hugely change. Well, AI. I think that AI is going to change a lot of things because now, I don't know if have you seen it's, I think the handle is Deep Tom Cruise. And it got fed to me. And I was like, why is Tom Cruise doing the dance, what's the Munsters? What's that show? You know which one I mean with
Addams Family? No.
Huh?
The Addams Family? I was thinking of the Munsters.
Oh yeah, the Addams Family. Yeah, or yeah, that one. But you know that I watched the whole season. I can't believe I'm spacing on the name right now. I could probably do the whole dance for you, but he's doing this. Like, what the heck? It turns out that wasn't actually Tom Cruise. It was a guy who kind of looks like him, and they did the AI face over it, so it looks exactly like him. So I'm kind of wondering what is going to be coming with that. But then also the AI, like just Chat GPT, like for helping with script writing and research and things like that. But you have to also kind of watch it because I've kind of tested a few, you know, I've tested a lot of things with it actually. And it can just not sound like you, right? So you might be able to take what, you know, the AI has helped you with, but then you have to make it your own. You can't just, you know, do that because it's not going to sound really as human, or if people know you, it's not going to sound like you. And that's the real important part, right? Is being you, being authentic.
Absolutely. Authenticity is so key, so critical. But yeah, I'm totally with you 100%. Video is definitely here to stay. Video is going to get more and more popular, and it's going to become the norm. Like if you're not doing a video, then you're like behind the times, and your brand or your product is going to be falling off the shelves because no one's going to be buying them, because the other person who is doing video, people are going out snatching it up. So I agree with you 100%. Video is definitely here to stay, and AI is a game changer. Someone in our audience said that AI for sure. Rose, thanks, Rose. AI is for sure a game changer because of what it is able to do now, not just in words, but in actual physical features of a person, making you think that a person actually said some things or actually did some things that they absolutely did not do. Not. And so now I think the new field should be AI detection. So that you can undo that.
Great point. Yeah. And I think also like continually educating yourself, you know, and looking at what other people are doing. And, you know, if you can, you know, go to a conference where you can learn from top creators. You know, I think that's something, I started kind of going to things when my daughter once wanted to go to VidCon. Well, I wasn't, you know, wanting to go there to fangirl. I wanted to go to learn. So they had a creator track that I did. And then the next year I did the industry track. And then I found out about Vid Summit, which is really, I think, the top place to go to learn, because there are no fans. It's all creators. And the cool part about it is that not only are the sessions absolutely fantastic, you learn so much, but you know, the person sitting next to you, they might might be chatting with them, talking, and find out that they have 5 million subscribers, and you learn from them. And then the person sitting next to you might have 100 subscribers, and you learn from them, because everybody is coming at this from a different point of view. And I find it invaluable. So I've been going, I think this is maybe my 5th year, because I think we didn't have one during the pandemic. Was that virtual? Yeah, but I've been going to that, and I just find that a very, very important thing that I do every year, because I always come out of it with more knowledge, energized, and really, it just really helps, I think. And I can't speak to the VidCon tracks anymore, but they were good also. But when I had done industry twice, I just felt like it was, and again, this was years ago, a little bit more of the same kind of a thing. Whereas I feel like with Summit, you get more diverse. There's so many different tracks. They have people from YouTube. They have people talking about legal sides of things. They have people talking about podcasting and short form content, and you're getting the top creators.
Right. That is awesome. And I think too, further to that, or similar to that, Podfest is coming again next year, right? In January in Florida. Is that
I've
right?
never been. I might need to get to that.
I'm thinking about going. So I'm like, because I've heard just same. I've heard so many amazing things about it. But when you were talking about VidCon, I was like, I wonder if that's like Podfest. So
yeah, it probably, it's really probably the video version of Podfest from what, I've seen Ross Brand talk about it a lot. And I know he's always speaking there. And yeah, it looks like a very good event.
Yes. Oh, thank you. There it is. Podfest Expo, January 25th through the 28th of next year in Florida. It is, they're celebrating 10 years. Can you believe that? 10 years of people podcasting and making a life around it, educating people, helping people get to, more familiar, creating avenues where people can gain more knowledge and experience and learn from other people.
Yeah. And the nice thing too about these kinds of events is it helps you learn how to monetize, which is so important. I started my YouTube channel really just as a creative outlet. I don't think I even used affiliate links for 2 years, which was like really dumb. But, and the thing is that can become passive income, because if you have like some evergreen videos and people keep watching them and clicking those links, I still make income from my videos that are out there, that are older, because people still click those links sometimes. So, it's really, smart to understand whatever road you're going down, how to monetize outside of whatever you might make, like from your AdSense, or if you're getting paid on other platforms.
Right. That's so smart, and a really, really great point to those affiliate links. So become an affiliate of the thing that you're already using. If you're already using every day StreamYard or Descript or, Amazon. I'm not sure of Amazon. I don't even know if I'm supposed to be saying those names, but anyways, I don't have affiliate links with them, but I know that there are so many companies with affiliate programs. And if you're already using their product and you're already, or their equipment, whether it's a microphone or a camera or whatever, why not get paid for that? I mean, there's so many different ways, and it's not like you're doing anything extra. It's not like it's taking any more time from you to become an affiliate. So that just is another smart income stream, I think, as a video content creator that we just need to take more advantage of. So like you, I need to get with that program as well and be preach what I teach, what I, do what I say on the video, because it just makes sense. So many people have said to me, you need an affiliate link, be an affiliate. And I'm like, oh yeah, I will, promise. And it's not, I haven't done it yet. And it's only because I just haven't taken the time. And it takes 2 minutes.
You should, because, I know it starts at sometimes it seems like it's pennies or very, very small, but it really starts to add up after a while. So yeah, you should make sure you get one for like TubeBuddy and put it down there now. You might get some people clicking on it.
Right. Exactly. Okay. We'll make a note. We're going to become TubeBuddy affiliates.
What we talked about today.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and so many people had comments and questions about it. And I'm just so thankful and grateful to you that you know about it and you helped educate us on something else that will help us be better at what we do and know what's working, what's not working. And I love the suggestion, even too, going back just a few minutes ago when you were talking about changing a few words on the thumbnail to see if that might get you more engagement.
Or even honestly, the littlest thing, like let's say you have the person's face and the text, and then you put a little cute logo down there that, maybe means something to you, but like, maybe other people don't. We did a test on one, getting rid of this little distraction. It changed by like 7 or 8%. And then one, we positioned the person who'd done a really fun expression like this, and we put the words right above his head. So the focus was the words and then his fun expression in his hands, what he was doing, versus having him in that with the same pose, but the words on the side with a little bit more stuff going on. Mm-hmm. The one with him in the center just blew the other one out of the water. But how do you know that unless you test it, right?
Yeah. That's right. That's right. And numbers don't lie. No, no matter what. And when you got numbers to back up the reasons why you're doing certain things or why you need to keep doing things a certain way, then you're on the right track because you've got backup. You've got documented proof. This is working. We need to do more of this. And then I think it's also key and just as important to be nimble enough to know which to change with whatever the numbers are saying or whatever the audience is saying or whatever your market is saying, to be nimble enough to give them what they're looking for and give them what they want.
Definitely.
Right. So I cannot believe it's almost an hour that we've been talking. This has been so fantastic.
This has been so much fun. Well, I love sharing what I know because I wish somehow somebody had told me. I think about I wish I had known when I started all this. And that's what, I just love. If I can save somebody some time and money and headache, that makes me so happy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. So how can we reach you if someone wants to connect with you directly or if they want to find your YouTube channel? How do we stay connected?
Sure. Yeah. Well, so I'm on LinkedIn, Nicole Sanchez. You can find me there. And then my YouTube channel is the Nicole Sanchez. So if you're interested in luxury, hair care and lifestyle, you can find me there.
I love it. Love it. And so we're putting it up on the on the screen now. YouTube is at the Nicole Sanchez for luxury hair care. And if y'all are only listening to the podcast, you're missing out on fabulous hair because Nicole has like the best hair ever.
All right.
But this has really been great. So, and then LinkedIn, Nicole Sanchez as well. So thank you so much for sharing that. And so what's in the future for you? What's coming up for you?
Oh, well, I'm really excited. We're going to be going to New York and London and Stockholm in the next couple months for Snowflake to have Data Cloud Now, which is that shot you see up there on the top there, our set that we just did in Las Vegas a few months ago. So we're going to be filming a bunch of interviews there. So that's going to be really, really fun. And Vid Summit is sandwiched kind of in between there. So it's going to be a busy couple months.
Wow. That sounds fantastic. And I wish you nothing but the absolute best. I look forward to all of the content that gets created from those experiences. Because I know it's just so amazing, especially when you get to go on the road and travel to do what you do so well.
Thanks. I'm really blessed. I have really the greatest team. Snowflake's awesome. Data Cloud World Tour, here we come.
Right. All right. I love it. Well, wish you the best, Nicole. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, your wisdom, your experiences, all these amazing tips and tricks to help us truly be the absolute best video content creators that we can be as we are, endeavoring to just make things happen using the gifts and talents that we have available to us. So thank you so much for helping us amplify our online impact one video at a time.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.